Hello and welcome. We are here. We are live on a Friday night. Once again, Jasonless. So I do apologise for my hosting. This is episode 151. We're recording live April 4th, 2018. On this week's episode, we'll be talking, well, two of us will be talking about the newest Power of the Primes episode. Wave 2 Studio series are hitting collectors' hands, so we get to have a look at them up close. And we have some more promising news from the Bumblebee movie. All that and coming up. Started well. All that and more coming up after this.
Also, it's May, but anyway.
Details.
Oh dear. May.
Yeah. It's gonna be May.
Live on May 4th. That's right. I'll cut that in. Those watching, you have a slight insight into tonight's runnings. Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. Coming back after missing the 150th episode last week because he cared, but he was off continent. Max Tibby, welcome back.
Thank you. I would have liked to, and initially I thought, yeah, this will work out fine, and then Malaysian internet slowly got worse and worse and worse to a point where I don't even remember, but it took me 35 minutes, I think it was, for a Facebook message to send.
Wow, that's some kind of record.
Yeah, I think it must be, but no, back now, and it's a really cool country to visit. It is a bit strange in some areas. Like I went to see Infinity War. And
was it in their native tongue?
It was in English, just with subtitles, but it was also $8. So I'm like, good, I need to see this movie. But all the swear words were just cut out, and
really?
the scene where Star-Lord puts up his middle finger. What? That's barely a spoiler.
Okay, come on.
Star-Lord puts up his middle finger.
Firstly,
when does he do that? I don't remember that.
Well, if I say that, then it'll be an actual spoiler.
Okay, well, there you go.
First up, if you haven't seen it yet, you're probably the 1% like me. Secondly, last week we were delayed by an hour through Infinity War talk, and tonight we've been delayed again by 40 minutes through Infinity War talk. So
it's kind of a big movie.
Yeah.
It's only like the biggest movie ever.
Oh, sorry, before I get into that, Mikey joined us back from Sydney. How are you, Mikey?
Yeah, I'm also here. Hi.
Hi, Mikey.
Yeah, no, good. Nothing much has changed. Oh, I got my full license, like I told the guys before, but I thought I'd just let the entire world know.
Congratulations, you are now mobile.
I am now more mobile than I was on my green, so yeah, very, very pleased with that.
Oh, lovely. I had to go and do a medical yesterday for my new job that I start on Tuesday. Oh, thank God. And I was talking to the bloke there. I was hoping that I could fit in an Infinity War watch between medical and another checkup, but time wouldn't allow for. And I was saying to him that, yeah, the world's going to see Infinity War, but I think Super Troopers 2 needs my $15 more. So I would have gone and seen that, but of all any movie that decides to release the same time as Infinity War, unfortunately, Super Troopers 2. I hope they work it out though.
Oh, it'll still make it. I just think
the theater I went to twice, and that was all they were playing.
Infinity War.
Yeah, like they just yeah, we're not making money off anything else this weekend.
Yeah.
No, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, a film 10 years in the making that's the most hyped thing since the slice of bread, you know. I don't know. Of course, you'd put the ball on. You just say, "Sorry, guys, you're not gonna have your own. We're not gonna have any other movies this week. We're just gonna try and get everyone in because it made as much in the first weekend than Justice League did for its whole run. So that was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, it's going to hit $1 billion this weekend, and I mean it's already got the biggest opening weekend ever, and
of all time. Yeah,
I'm hoping that it unseats Avatar, not because I think it's a massively, not because I really want this movie to make $2 billion, but because I want Avatar to no longer be the highest grossing movie of all time.
I also do because is the director of Avatar James Cameron or something, or
Yes.
James Cameron
He's-
does what James Cameron does because he's James Cameron.
But James Cameron said, "I hope Infinity War flops because I want to still be on top." So I'm just like, okay, screw you. I really want Infinity War to go
James
well.
Cameron says, "Oh, I don't like superhero movies because it's just a big franchise." And now, excuse me while I go make 5 more Avatars.
Yeah, no.
If
it's
the
like,
Force
what is
Awakens didn't do it, Infinity War won't.
that? Infinity War will, I reckon. I think it's a bigger franchise than Star
I
Wars.
reckon the second one was bigger than this one.
The four,
Although,
Inventors 4,
although
maybe.
without going into spoilers, this Infinity War is to The Force Awakens as The Last Jedi is to Infinity War 4, Avengers 4. But at least they've got the same director coming back, so it's not going to be just someone else going, oh, well, we're going to just go, that's not going to happen. Click.
I think Infinity War was more well received than The Force Awakens, and definitely more well received than the Last Jedi. So
It was better received, it was better received by audiences than both of those, but not by critics. Which is
yeah, because critics loved the Last Jedi, didn't they?
Yeah, if you look at the disparity on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like 95% critics, 48% audience.
Whereas what's Infinity War?
I think it's 84% critics, and I can't remember what it is for audience.
Probably still pretty high.
Critics aside, leading up to it, from the trail, did any from the trailers go, oh wow, I'm excited, I'm giggling, I'm laughing, I'm scared, or anything?
Mostly just the music, honestly.
Oh yeah, Sylvester's score is fantastic, and
yeah, Silvestri can do no wrong.
Yeah.
What's his name? Sylvester Stallone.
Alan Silvestri. No, he did Back to the Future and Predator.
All the first Avengers.
Yeah, I love that music. Yeah, the music made the trailers for me. I mean, if you took away the music, I wouldn't have watched the trailers as many times as I did.
But nothing, you got Cap sitting there wrestling with Thanos and whatever's going to happen there and whatever happens there in the film. But just in the lead up to the show tonight, catching up on a couple of trailers beforehand, and there's still that the marketing for Deadpool 2 is just gets me all goosebumpy and giggly.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
And even with Deadpool 2, there's still stuff that they're hiding. Like with Infinity War, all the big, holy shit moments in the movie, those would all be spoilers if you put them in a trailer. Most.
Well, staying spoiler free. They seem to have taken a cue from Rogue One with showing stuff in the trailer that's not in the film.
Yes, I did notice that.
Not going into what that is.
I did notice that.
Yeah, but it's just.
Or they showed stuff that was they showed it with the dialogue, but it didn't match the scene when it came to the movie.
Yeah, but
okay.
Yeah, there's a line that in the trailer Gamora says, where in the movie Bruce Banner says it. Stuff like that, and then there's shots that are missing and everything.
Like when Thingo says "Get this man," when Black Panther says "Get this man a shield," he's in a different location when he says it, and so. And
it's not a Captain America shield either.
I hate his new shield design so much. Really, really hate it.
Oh, there's a lot we can criticize about it, and given an off the rails in the future, I'm sure there'll be a 3-hour episode where we're talking about it more. But
anyway, Transformers.
Yeah, Transformers. I need to do this. A bit of that. Sent to everyone. Someone keep an eye on that to make sure I don't lock it on anyone's specific screen. Botshots Weekly, congratulations this week to Christopher Turner, our Queensland rep, who has Transformers
Legends Slipstream.
Legends Slipstream, yeah. Encased in a dome of doom.
No, he referenced the comment from it. I remember was, "I'm trapped in a glass cage of emotion." From Anchorman. So that was
Anchorman, yes.
so that was
It's
pretty
a glass dome and not a phone booth, but
yeah.
everyone got the reference, and
Yeah.
it was a
Liked it.
clear winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations, Chris. You're now in the draw for the May raffle. I don't have a figure for the April one just yet. I'm just going to draw it and message the winner and see what they're after, and see if we can work something out, because there's no figures coming out here at all retail, and I have to go and check out some of the local sales and see what they're
Isn't that
selling.
the same for you, Max? You're not really getting that much figure-wise, or
Well, I wasn't, and then April turned out like everything I had on pre-order released in April. So
okay.
I'm just getting flooded with stuff.
Swapped. Yeah.
But what about in-store?
Nothing really.
Right.
It's just not much for retail. Not much at retail for me right now.
Yeah.
At least not that I could find.
Yeah. Apart from the Studio Series stuff I got in Canberra at Toy World, there's no. I haven't seen any studio stuff here anywhere, and I walked all over town yesterday before the my medical appointment, checking several different toy retailers, and there's just nothing. Shelves are empty. There's no new figures coming in whatsoever. So it's a sad time. Those posts in the group that shelves are full, celebrate and enjoy.
Well, Toys R Us's in the moment are pretty good, because I found my the stuff I got this week. At that Toys R Us is being really reasonable at the moment. They're not having the jacked up prices. They're just going for the normal retail prices, which is cool. And they're just the shop that are getting it. They're pretty much the only place around that are getting the Studio Series, for me at least.
I think Maya had a really good sort of buy two get everything 40% off sale.
Which
the other day, which
but they
worked out
have
well
the
for
jacked
some
up
people.
prices.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, Maya was one store that did actually have the Studio Series for retail. They actually had there was two Titans Return Fort Maxes there on clearance for $300. Down from
Maya's so hit
$369.
and miss. Sometimes they'll have like the best prices around, and other times they'll have like Fort Max for like $400.
Yeah.
Well, you need those 50% sales they have when they do that. That's when you're winning, but when you're losing, you have Machinima's new Power the Primes Prime Wars Trilogy animated feature. I haven't seen it. You two have, so this is where my comments end. Guys, take it away.
Right. So, do you remember how Combiner Wars was teased, and they said this is going to be like the Game of Thrones of animation, and this is going to be Transformers for mature audiences, and it's going to really
darkest,
push
the grittiest, the best you'll ever see.
And then it did about as far from that as you could possibly get.
Yep.
And then Titans Return got slated, and we saw the trailer for that, and we said, "Oh, this looks better." And then again, they said, "Yeah, this is going to be, really pushing boundaries, something new, something different, and much more engaging story." And now, granted, Titans Return, the best way I could describe it would be not quite as bad. And then we see Prime Wars come along, which, we look at things and we say, "Oh, this is this stellar voice cast," and the trailer looked really amazing. It looked like they were going to dig deep into Transformers mythology.
Continuing the focus of, if we have the voice actors, then they'll come.
Yeah,
basically. About it. And even then, it's like, maybe it's one of the weaker performances from any of them. Like, even like I said, at least it's not quite as bad.
No.
In this case again. But even with the voice actors, it feels like the voice actor for Megatron, who was previously really good, I almost feel like he's given up.
It's not a line, because he had some great lines in the past series. Has he just got shit lines, or is it just the acting?
I think there's no real. He doesn't have that sort of that snark that he had beforehand. He's just like he's not funny. He's
He's not witty.
just an asshole.
He's not witty. Yeah, he's kind of.
Actually,
Yeah,
no,
basically.
he's not even that. He's just grumpy. He's
a grumpy old man.
yeah, and
I've been around this
voice
whole
acting
time.
isn't
I've seen the
delivered.
shit.
yeah, like, there's no strength of deliverance lines. You know, it's very monotone. And then even they bring in Greg Berger, and they say, "Yeah, okay, speak like you're speaking in caps lock or something." It's just like, yeah, you remember what you did in G1 with Grimlock? Yeah, can you just pretend you're Grimlock
And
doing
you're
an
louder.
impression of Grimlock? Like, and
Yep.
it doesn't work.
It doesn't. And you'd think they'd promote the toys and not make Grimlock the masterpiece Grimlock, but whatever.
I just
That was odd. What?
remember it used to be so easy to make fun of this series, and now it's just kind of sad.
Yeah, it is very sad.
It's like this is what people's impression of mature Transformers is going to be.
And if this is what it is, then our fandom's gonna go down the toilet.
Yeah.
Basically, this is the benchmark.
Well, I know I'm going to go and watch Revenge of the Fallen after this record. Well, yeah, and even just looking at the photo,
get that bad.
Even looking at the photo on screen, they don't understand that Beast Wars and G1 are different. Having Primal and Megatron back to back here just doesn't work.
Well, having Primal and Megatron is also them just being like, because there's no other Beast Wars characters in this, so they basically just went, yeah, okay, we'll kill off Optimus Prime at the end of Titan's Return for weight, and then oh yeah, we'll just bring in Optimus Primal to fill that exact same role.
Answering Mikey's spoiler warning, I when I seen the trailer and seen the dead Prime, I'm going, oh, okay, so they killed him, because I didn't watch the last couple episodes. I was out.
Well, if you want to know how bad the show was, I watched the entire thing and I forgot the Prime died.
Yeah.
I also forgot that Megatronus was in it. I forgot that Megatron was in charge, because it's an inherently unmemorable show.
Yeah.
So, do we actually want to talk about what happened in the episode? Because not a lot happened, but still stuff.
If there's any key points you want to discuss, go for it. Because I know one big thing that came out of Tide's Return was the fact that Overlord had captured Hot Rod and was transforming him or converting him into Rodimus Minor Prime
Unicronus.
Maximus
Def.
Winnebago.
I think they're calling him Rodimus Kron.
Unicronus.
Terrible name.
Rodimus Unicronus is his name, which is crappy. But so it seems that we didn't get him at all in this episode. So I was expecting to see him. You know what? Not a lot happened in this episode. Basically, what happened was Megatron and Victorion and Windblade, of course, she's there, and I think that was it. I'm not sure. There might be another character. They're all just walking through this forest on Cybertron because there's a forest.
They're looking for a Requiem blaster, aren't they?
Yeah, right.
We always need a MacGuffin.
Yeah, because that worked really well in. Did it work well in Armada? I don't know. I can't remember if the Minicon things really worked that well in Armada. But the Requiem blasters from Armada originally, where it was formed by 3 Minicons. But I don't think they're going to go that route for this show. But yeah, so the MacMuffin of this series is the Requiem blaster, and so Megatron's leading the Autobots. Victorion, who's still missing an arm and hasn't uncombined at all, is still walking around as a giant robot, and you got Windblade being annoying. They're walking around as I can only describe as being a kid playing with his toys in the grass, because the forest just looks like big, things of grass just coming out of the ground. So it doesn't look like trees or anything.
Electronic grass, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
But massive electronic grass. It's 3 times the size of Victorion. So it's this massive grass area. and they're just walking towards somewhere that they hope the Requiem Blaster is. And
It's
then
like the Forge of Solus Prime, isn't it?
yeah, but like I don't know how Megatron just has a hunch of where this thing is, I think.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
Yeah, like one other thing that's worth pointing out is I feel like in the previous shows there were characters that are at least enjoyable to watch. In this first episode at least, there's not a single likable character.
There's not a likable moment. There's no moment that says, this, oh, I agree with this character or I disagree with this character. There's nothing. It's just all very plain and just...
Yeah, but the characters, you can't engage with them or get invested in them. Like, the protagonists, just like, they're all assholes.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Victorion's an arsehole, Windblade's an arsehole, Megatron's an arsehole. They make a good trio.
And it could work well, like I did in previous series, where it's like, Megatron's really up himself, and so he plays off the rest of them. But now everyone's just super uppity. Like, and it's just not enjoyable to watch because it's just each character doing their own slight variation on the same beat.
Yeah. And then, so they're walking through this weird forest, and then, lo and behold, grass.
It's grass.
It's just grass. Glowy blue and green grass. Just, it makes no sense. And then the Dinobots just like, hey, we're in this show. We're just going to come out and say hi. And then they're just, and Perceptor's there, because this is one of the things. The Dinobots are like, oh, we're all animals. We don't know who you are. Perceptor comes up and says, hey, remember me? We used to work together and shit like that. And then Grimlock's like, oh, you're a nerd. And then he just like kicks him or something. And then then they just start fighting. And then they start losing the Dinobots on themselves. I think they start losing the battle, which is not your typical Dinobots. And this is why I hate the Dinobots combining, because the show is going to make it like, oh, the Dinobots aren't powerful enough, but already as they are, which the Dinobots in their dinosaur modes are very powerful, in general. But they're going to play them down because, hey, guess what? At the end of this, they're losing. And you're just like, oh, you've made me mad. And they combined into Volcanus. And
I was happy about that, actually, because after 2 series where they've had a massive focus on combiners, we actually see a combiner combine for the first time.
It might not have been the first time, because I vaguely remember Devastator having the Constructicons combine in the last one.
Oh, I checked.
Yeah.
First time.
Huh?
There's been, I checked, and there's like other people saying it as well. Like, this is the literal first time it's happened.
Well, there you go. I mean,
which I guess is technically a good thing.
Yeah, but I don't think it is.
To highlight the inherent flaws in the other series.
But that's like getting to Dark of the Moon before Transformers transform. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, and then just basically nothing. And then I think really at the start you have Megatronus monologuing just about how, he's got the Matrix. Does he have the Matrix?
Yeah, he's got the Matrix and
the Enigma of combination, and all he needs now is the third McMuffin, because it's a trilogy. We need 3 McMuffins. And
he never says what for, though.
He doesn't say it. He's just like, I need all 3 for you, and we all assume he's talking to Unicron for some reason.
Isn't it quite obvious? He's going to get those 3. He's going to get the Minicon data disk. He's going to get the something of something and create the golden disc, and he's going to have the Cybertronian gauntlet to put on his left.
Infinity gauntlet, and he's going to click his fingers, and then half of the Cybertronian.
Spoilers.
No, come on. Everyone knows what happens when he clicks his fingers.
There are some people who don't know. Brad, it's a little editing point right there.
Okay.
As if there's people that don't know what happens.
People have work, Mikey.
So what? You should know. Anyway. I take back that statement that I never said, because Brad's going to edit it out.
Maybe we should have just not complained about it and all, just let it slide so no one realizes.
Yeah.
So yeah, this so he gets we all assume that he's working for Unicron, right?
It's really heavily implied that he's working for Unicron, Even though
Unicron's
apparently he killed Unicron as well. So
yeah, like he felt really bad about it, so now he's putting him back together.
Yeah. I was going to ask, since we've seen the head, they couldn't just leave it out. Like, could you imagine if they didn't? Okay, maybe not. But if that Unicron head wasn't in the trailer, and just all of a sudden he turns around and says he's working for building, fixing, whatever Unicron in episode 4 or 5, and you just
that'd
see,
be such a cool reveal.
yeah,
A bit like in the last night, where except they totally didn't, where they left it out, and then in the trailers, and then only revealed it in the movie. I mean, it was really poorly done in the movie, but it was still pretty cool.
Wait, what? That he was in it?
But Unicron was in the movie.
Right. In the thing, yeah.
don't touch him. He doesn't like to be touched.
He doesn't like him. He doesn't like to be touched that way. I don't care. I don't like him. I don't want him here.
Yeah.
I'm suddenly happy about the reboot.
Yes, definitely.
All right, final thoughts. Final thoughts on Power of the Primes.
Nothing happened in this episode, basically.
Yeah, it's exactly as bad as you've come to expect.
It's a nothing episode. I reckon you can probably watch the second episode without watching this one.
I will
and understand what's
continue
going
to
on.
watch this show so I can trash on it once a week.
Oh, of course, me too.
And I'll just sit back and listen, unfortunately.
Yep.
Coming up next, on to some better news. We've seen some photos previously of prototypes and the production images of Studio Series Wave 2. Now we've got some in-hand images of Megatron and Brawl. Obviously, we did have some issues to bring up last time we've seen this figure, Megatron that is, with the feet not seeming to be transformed correctly. It seems to be a lot better in box with those feet set up the way they are.
Yeah, and then when we've seen other images as well, like in hand, it does look even better. So this is clearly, it's clearly well engineered feet, just crappy Hasbro promotional images. I think the major takeaway from these is like, while we have seen other, in hand images, they were kind of not of the best quality and kind of far away. But here we get a really good look at the paint scheme on the figure.
I don't think there's really much of a paint scheme. I think it's mostly grey plastic, but what's painted is good, and I think that's fair enough.
It's the thing with the grey plastic is, I'm happy to see it's not as bad as we initially thought it would be. Like at the start, it looked like it'd be just that generic, dull Hasbro grey, but now it's certainly duller than I'd like it to be. But it looks pretty decent there. It doesn't look terrible. It's just kind of. It looks like a passably coloured figure.
Yeah, it suffers the same issue as the Blackout, I feel. Just grey plastic and not painted. Funnily enough, the box art for it is not the same as the actual figure, where the figure's got the bronze-coloured inlay. On the box, it's all black.
Yeah, and the box seems to have more detail on the vehicle mode as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Isn't that what we come to expect with boxes nowadays? Anyway, like they usually don't like they used to just have the Takara figures on the back whenever Takara had painted them better, and they just had the Takara images on the back and just like, oh, look at how cool this looks on the back. And why doesn't it look like what it looks on front?
Well, Prime's on the back of this box, which means this must be a Hasbro design, because we sort of talked before about Grimlock, how he was how much paint and detail went into him.
So much.
Seems like the Takara one.
They took all the paint, like half of the paint budget from Blackout, and they put it to Grimlock. So I think that's what they did. I mean,
and it sort of worked out. Blackout doesn't need that paint.
No, he doesn't.
As much as Grimlock does.
I didn't think the paint job was too bad on Black. I think it was fine, actually. I love Blackout, to be honest. I love Grimlock. They're both really good. But I mean, this thing, ever since I saw the first pictures, I thought this thing looked amazing, no matter the paint or anything. I mean, this, again, like Max, I would have liked it a bit more, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the colours are certainly an issue, but they're not so much of an issue as we initially thought they'd be.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it looks like an incredibly solid Voyager figure.
Yeah, like with minimal kibble, it looks.
Yeah, there's no
And-
kibble on this thing. It's the thing. It's
Yeah.
like a perfect robot mode to perfect vehicle mode.
Yeah, which the leader class couldn't do, and the Voyager class can. Go figure.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
Voyager's Hasbro's just killing it recently.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
Voyager seems to be absolute standout size class.
yeah. And the original Revenge of the Fallen Megatron, the Voyager figure was pretty solid like this, but it had a massive shell backpack.
Yeah, and
do
it
that
didn't look
tank.
100% like Megatron, whereas this looks like it just jumped off the screen, really.
And
But
a lot-
then
even with the paint stuff, like you look at all the sort of gold details peeked down in the chest that we couldn't really see quite as well in previous images. That looks fantastic. Like,
It does. The red
But
eyes
that's-
are red as well.
But that's if he was a prime and trim Megatron of the era. But he spent time under the ocean in the film. There's sort of rust detail. If this had sort of that, okay, maybe not rust detail, but poo smear that Skeletron and some of those figures from the Last Night had,
yeah, that is.
or even the
strange, like-
green, because it's just a flat grey, and it's sort of yes, okay, Blackout being a leader figure. He's got some detail there, but again, it's just like a massive grey plastic where there's a lot of no paint on it.
Yeah, like that sort of dry brushing on the paint is something they've only recently brought in, and I'm surprised they wouldn't do it here.
Cogman
because
as
it's
well.
like such an obvious spot to do it.
Yeah. Because the whole thing was he was resurrected from the bottom of the ocean where he'd been there for a year or two.
Well, you say that, and the Bumblebee that they didn't have all the rust detail and all that on as the original, well, as the first. appearance from him in the
good
movie
call.
did.
Yeah, no, good call.
But yeah, I'm happy with this looking like this because it just looks so great, and I can't wait to figure out how it transforms because it looks like it's maybe a bit of a puzzly one. I don't know because I just don't get how it works, but.
Yeah, I'm actually really keen to see how it does seem to change shape a fair bit. I'm looking
like a total.
interested to see, especially how the treads come together. I think it'd be really cool.
Because it looks like the entire treads are just in his legs, so they're like splay out or something.
But then you've got the painted detail there, like the cogs on the inside, the legs. There's a lot of drive cogs and that there on the tracks as well, which just I wish we had a photo here of it in its tank mode. Like it's
I expect we'll see some more images very soon, which give us like a final idea of exactly what this guy's going to be in hand.
But size aside, this is definitely the definitive Megatron from the Revenge of the Fallen / Dark of the Moon that we've got so far.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I hope there's a Dark of the Moon version coming.
I think there was one rumored because we did get a few big lists of like leaked Studio Series product, which had like Bumble movie stuff, etc. So, and I think there was a Dark of the Moon Megatron on there. So you talked about that sort of paint wash that they did on a few figures. That'd be a perfect place for them to bring that in on a Megatron. Would be to do it on a Dark of the Moon version.
Yeah,
because that version of Megatron deserves it the most because that's the I've lost everything Megatron. I'm all rusty and like this one was like fair enough that they wanted to make him all shiny because I guess because he's made new, so this isn't a completely new body. But the one that we get in Dark of the Moon, he's rusted, he's decrepit, he's at the worst he's ever been. So like that.
He's got the hole in the head where this one doesn't have the hole in the head.
Well, that's because the whole.
The end of the movie.
Yeah, the end of
Oh, he does too. Yep. Okay.
At the end
sorry.
of
Right after
it's
Give
a
Me Your
blast.
Face.
Yeah. Yep.
Is
After
it a blast
the
from
face is
Optimus
taken.
Prime?
No, he cuts across his head and jams his sword into the pillar in the ancient temple. So he goes to cut his head off, but it hits the pillar and only takes half it.
Okay, because it's been a while since I've watched Revenge of the Fallen for obvious reasons, but
Love it. Go see it. Go watch it. It's good fun.
Is it? Is it though?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the taser and nuts. Perfect. Oh, Michael Bay, you're a genius. Yeah. So, and that's one of the things like that. The deluxe Dark of the Moon Megatron. It's a representation of the character. It's not what the character was on screen. So I just wish we had a tank mode for this guy here. But
Look, the Voyager one wasn't bad.
no, it wasn't bad, but it just didn't really
Do it
It
100%
wasn't-
justice.
yeah, it was a good Megatron figure, but it wasn't a good on-screen Megatron figure.
No, fair enough. I want, if they were to do it, I want the blades to actually come out of the front of the truck, like the sword, the really tetanusy things coming out of the front of the truck. But if they could
like if you've got $700, that the 3A Megatron they made with the cloth cape and that went over its head and all that, the chains and the rust on its chest, that was just, if I was ever going to buy a statue, that would have been one to buy. But money.
Money and sense.
Or no sense. No sense.
Yeah.
Follow on that, seemingly the only other figure in Wave 2 that we know of, apart from Jazz, that hasn't come to be quite yet. We've seen some photos earlier, but not yet. But we've got Brawn here, which was another Deluxe or Voyager. What size
Voyager. Like Jazz and Lockdown are Deluxe Wave 2, and this guy and Megatron are Voyager.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that Lockdown. Yep.
Can I be honest? You know how I was saying that Voyagers seem to be the standout right now? I'd like
your words back.
Retract that statement.
Look, yeah, I can get where you're coming from. I don't like his hands. His hands are a big no-no. That you never have the fists inside of boxes like that. That sucks.
Yeah, that always looks terrible. Like,
yeah, it never looks good. The rest of him looks decent though. I do think actually the deluxe was quite good. If they could have just oversized that and maybe made a few fixes to the like shoulder areas where
there are also like numerous knockoffs of the leader version that have just come out, which that's supposed to be really good.
That's true.
So there's not much of a market for this guy. And it is stuff like he's got that tank turret, but if you compare the figure itself to the box art, looks like it's just permanently sticking off, straight down from his tailbone.
Yeah, it does kind of look like a bit of phallic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looking at that straight like that. I mean, he's well endowed.
So get in the way. Like you can't have him in like a dynamic pose or anything. It's just going to smash it over the floor.
Some older members of the older listeners may recognize this, but is Willem Dafoe, the human tripod, and Madonna in Body Full of Evidence. Enough of that.
Okay.
There's a couple of things this figure's doing that past ones haven't. All the chrome, I'm guessing it's chrome because it's shiny.
I don't
think it's chrome. It's better than chrome. It's like just a metallic paint.
I'm guessing it's that same silver that like the Deluxe Last Night Prime Barricade, that sort of bright silver that those figures had. I'm guessing that's what this is because you got the hands, the knees, the face, the gun accessory. Someone posted
the blades not done.
Yeah, good point. That's where the budget ended. Someone posted in the group before about this and how they were all for it. And if you haven't had a brawl before, then yep, that's fine. But the Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe brawl, the Desert brawl, even the leader, I still think, even though the leader's got a big backpack because of the electronics, I prefer that lighter green camo color to this just flat olive. It's not even olive green. It's a real weird color. On that, the gun turret points out to the side on the back, or you just take it off altogether and not even have it on the bot itself. But at least it's got the proper arms, articulated hands. The Gatling guns come out of the wrists to just add more firepower to it. The chest is more pronounced. This is like the Ratchet, the Studio Series Ratchet. It's just I don't see the need for it. I don't need to pay for it, and I don't know why anyone would want it.
Yeah, it's a superfluous effort almost. And just on a side note, Do you have any idea what's gone on with the articulation in those arms? Like,
Yeah, there's hinges.
Yeah, there's a mushroom.
There's
There's a,
hinges
There's a
and
mushroom peg.
swivels, but they're all in the wrong places.
Yeah, it doesn't look
There's
good either.
too many of them, and they're not where they're supposed to be.
No, not at all. It's
Yeah.
and his shoulders look really low. I just noticed.
Yeah, I'm
Unless
hoping you're
that's
able to rotate those up, maybe, and they're just like that.
I'd- whatever those shoulder pads are, I don't think you're going much higher than the pecs when you're
Yeah,
lifting
actually,
arms.
got those sort of bits sticking up the top. Yeah.
yeah. So you've got your third party,
Sorry.
your first party, and anything else other than this. I mean, unless this figure turns out to be amazing. I mean, it could be. I originally,
we all thought that Voyager Prime looked terrible in
I
the
did, yeah,
initial
fair enough.
and then everyone says that that's like the best figure in the line. So
And from the first couple of pictures, I thought the Deluxe Lockdown looked absolutely shit. But after I've seen some other photos of it, it looks really, really, really good. So I guess I'll just wait and see.
Do you have the Age of Extinction Lockdown?
That thing is a travesty.
Suddenly it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And that's again, like the leader one. Yes, it doesn't have ankle joints. It doesn't have a lot of articulation that you can get a dynamic pose out of. But I've always said I don't need my Transformers to be Dragon Ball Z characters. Like I don't need ground pound. I don't need Kamehame, blah 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 blah. I don't even need to be Ninja Turtles and doing some sort of fancy 4-team attack pose. Like as long as they can stand, Transformers Prime Black Arachnia, you're out.
Oh, that's just a terrible figure. Just
yeah, as long as they
everything, you know.
as long as they can stand, hold a like a decent pose. I don't care. And I'm not looking at paying $100 more because they can ground pound. Obviously, I'm not saying this can, but and it might be the fact this is in its box, but it just looks flat.
Well, if you look at the back of the box image, yeah, I always thought that he had a bit of a flat chest. He didn't look as pronounced as the last ones, and I'm not sure how he looked in the movie.
Well, he had those Minesweeper rakes on the front of him pointed out like armor, and like even on the tank, you can see it on the front of the tank there how they sort of stick out, and they added a bit more 3-dimensional shape to the chest. Whereas looking at that shape, that image on the back of the box, he just looks lanky and he doesn't look like a bulky tank bot.
No. Yeah, it's I really do think the Deluxe does it better than this, and I think they really just should have upsized that. And it's funny because when I saw the like in hand or the pictures of professional photos of this guy, he had like American pennies under his heels, so like maybe this guy can't even stand either, because like they were showing off the official shot, and then there were clearly pennies under his heel to help him stand up. So that's not looking good for this figure.
Oh, it gets worse, because when I was trying to show the original 2007 leader figure, I went to Google, I typed in 2007 leader Transformers Brawl figure.
Yeah.
There was a couple of photos. I got more photos appear when I typed in 2007 Demolisher leader figure.
Oh,
so yeah, that just shows where that issue rises. So
that's odd.
Why didn't they also call Brawl Devastator?
Devastator. I would have thought it was Devastator that we came.
Oh yeah,
that's odd. Demolisher. We've never heard him called Demolisher.
Wow.
I guess it makes sense. Because Demolisher was already another character.
No, 7 it wasn't, but that's, yeah, I typed Demolisher instead of Devastator. I completely forgot. I thought it was Demolisher in the film.
Came up with the leader.
Yeah, Brawl. In the subtitles, yeah. All right. So we've loved, for the most part, Studio Series Wave 1. I think we're all pretty happy with Megatron, but Brawl. That's a
We'll
no
see
for
what
me.
happens. You know,
Like the weak point.
he could be the Optimus Prime of the group, so you never know.
Wait, isn't Optimus Prime the worst of Wave 1?
He looked like the worst, and apparently he's the best.
He's one of the better ones.
We don't have Jason here to talk about it because he has him.
I was supposed to get him soon because I need to take a photo of him, but I'll get him eventually.
That's all right. You guys talked about Power of the Prime, so I'm going to splurge a little bit here with Jada Toys has released photos of their upcoming Transformers series Bumblebee, which you could call an evolution series. It's the 2006 and the 1977 Chevrolet Camaro concept cars. We've talked about Transformers, especially Masterpiece, and I believe we mentioned it last week as well, where I like to have some of my Masterpiece figures in alt mode because they look better in alt mode than they do in bot mode tracks.
Aww.
Some movie bots as well look fantastic in alt mode where they go to complete exploding in bot mode. But I've said before I collect the RPMs from Revenge of the Fallen that come out, which were the Matchbox scaled and sized. That's the same thing. Matchbox scaled alt modes for some of the bots in Revenge of the Fallen, and underneath they had the the painted or not so painted robot underneath. But just having the alt modes in Matchbox scale that I could post. I could pose this Bumblebee in front of the transforming figure, just so you had sort of what it looks like. You didn't have to transform it because these bots sometimes get too complicated. But these aren't Matchbox scale figures. These are a hell of a lot bigger. I don't think we have a comparison photo, but I think they're about a 1 to 32 scale car. Here, the 77 Camaro has all that damage and all that rust that we mentioned before wasn't on the Studio Series figure.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Malaysia, these Jada Toys cars were just about everywhere, and they actually look really impressive in hand. Like they're good sized models as well. The paint especially comes up. It's got this really nice sort of premium sheen to it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we talked about, having sort of the Autobots especially seem to be cars that exist. We joked last week about Ferrari F1 cars in the desert and more than meets the eye and all that sort of thing, but they're muscle cars. They're cars that exist in the real world, whether now or in the 80s, in between as well. So, people buy the Camaro because it's Bumblebee.
Oh yeah, after the first movie, the sales of that particular car jumped through the roof for that
how
company.
often do you see a Camaro that isn't yellow and black now?
Oh, not at all, basically. Not at all.
But that's the thing. Like, it was a concept car when that first movie came out, and in demand at the end of 2007. In 2008, they released the Camaro, and most of it was sold in the Bumblebee colours just because of the film. And then went on into Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon to change. And they kept on releasing a new model after that going forward.
And even limousines.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Bumblebee limousine?
Our friends Melbourne Transformers in Melbourne that have that limousine in Melbourne.
Right, there you go.
Yep.
That's amazing that they did that.
Well, that's yes, they've imported a Camaro at the time. One thing. Two, they've then chopped said Camaro and made into a limo at the same time. So
is it only one of a kind, that one?
I'm sure there's, over in Vegas or America, there's Camaro limos getting around. I don't think it's a one of a kind.
Okay.
It definitely is here. I've
Right.
never seen anything else like it here, but I'd dare say in America, there's probably a few of them. Maybe not Bumblebee yellow and black, but there's probably a Camaro or two limos getting around in Vegas or LA. But
Yeah, nice.
yeah, but I just thought they're nice looking car bots, and as we've said before, as I've sort of championed before, that it's just good to see the alt modes of the Transformers without all the splits in the panels and that where they've got to transform. I'd love to see the Datsun brothers in diecast as well, and I'm sure I can go and buy those at a hobby shop or something, minus the Autobot symbols on them, but. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Going on to our next figure. In other news, Magic Square Toys have released colour photos of their MSB02 fire extinguisher.
Good name. Good name.
Oh, that's a great name. We've seen some prototypes of these before, I believe, with their. I can't see from that. Look there. What's that?
Wow.
No, I don't know. It might have been with their Soundwave. But they've released some photos of their Inferno, which is a legend scale figure. There's also a grapple coming out in the same line as well. There he is next to Cogman.
Mancog.
Mancog.
I think the best size comparison is if you go down a bit, you can see him next to MP Bumblebee.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, that looks kind of a trip. You've seen it Inferno so much smaller than B, but it gives you a good idea of a size.
Yeah. Wow.
And also how much engineering they packed in at a size that small.
That size, exactly.
Oh, I shared, but even the articulation, like.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
That looks as posable as the MP.
Maybe even more.
Has anyone got the MP in arm reach?
Yeah, I do.
Mine's
Do
in
it.
mode.
What you want me to do for?
Can you do the lane on the back?
Travis?
Can you get the left knee, the left leg over the right knee?
You have the right leg.
Let's have a crack.
We had one member posted a photo in the group today, even like these getting down. Is it something in the sun? A YouTube reviewer anyway got it, and he was doing some pretty stressful testing of this figure on his YouTube video, and like the ladder, he pulled apart. He was. Some listeners may remember back to a couple of years ago where John Ryan, a fellow host, took the $20 reject shop Combiner Wars Jetfire and went to work on it. Where this reviewer was going to work without a hammer, but he was putting in some heavy hits, bending the ladder, removing the ladder, folding the ladder back over so it was a DNA sequence and a whole lot of other stuff, and it all come back together. Guns wouldn't snap. It seemed to be a pretty bulletproof figure, and I wouldn't suggest doing that to any masterpiece or third-party figures. But
so there we go. It's Inferno doing the same sort of thing. So just looking at. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So. Just looking at the articulation scheme between the two, I mean, it looks almost identical. Because if you go back to that guy, everything that you have here on Inferno seems to be replicated on this smaller figure.
Yeah. No, it looks incredible for I can't. So, have you actually seen the review of the transformation, Brad?
Yeah,
Is it really complex?
No, the whole as you see sort of here, like the legs fold down, it lays down, and then all your ladder assemblies on a like a 2-arm extension piece. It sort of clips off and comes down, but it's attached to the back of the cab. I think not just I've completely clouded on him. Who made Bad Cube?
Who made
Bad
Bad Cube?
There you go. The Bad Cube Inferno and Grapple Link. They had the whole ladder and assembling that on an arm that folded down. It does much the same as that, which I'm pretty sure it's very close to the G1 transformation.
Oh, cool.
Like, yeah, it just lays down. The back wheels are there, and then there's an arm that attaches the ladder, and the base of the ladder that goes to the rear, and then the arms just fold up. I don't know if we got a photo here of it. I suppose that one. So it's just there, like legs fold back, cabin, and the arms are behind it, and you've got the arm in there that take all that back.
Almost looks like sort of a way the arm assembly flips around into the cabin, and the way the legs transform that box on the back. It almost looks like it's, going to the same transformation scheme as the MP as well. Which is what we've been saying a lot about this company, right? We see their Inferno and Grapple, we see their Magnus, their mini bots, all that. This looks like miniature MPs. And actually, being able to compare the two now, so that they do seem to be pulling a lot of the same tricks, and I do not think that's a bad thing at all.
Well, we've commented, and John said before, like when we talked about Dinobots and me, my DX9 War and Pocket Dinobots, is like the G1 transformation. It's pretty simple. Whether it's Legend scale or Fans Toys Masterpiece scale, yes, you can do a few more intricate pieces or intricate transformations because the bot's bigger. But for the most part, the engineering's pretty simple, and you can do it.
It's the same basic motions,
Yeah.
And it works, It's like you get an MP10, and obviously the arms are still going to fold into the flanks, and the legs are still going to collapse to form the rear of the truck. But they're able to add on stuff like there's that whole assembly which folds out to fill out that gap that's been left, and there's panels which flip around on the legs to make it more coherent in both modes. So they're able to just follow these long-standing ways of doing it, but add on a bit more to make it a lot more functional.
I do see one issue here, though. They're releasing an Optimus Prime and a Sideswipe.
I think these are just. I think that's just a Generation Toy Prime and Iron Factory Sideswipe.
Okay, because I was going to say they don't match at all. Like the Inferno is 100% cartoon accurate, much like the Masterpiece version, where these two don't match at all.
Yeah, all the different Legends companies seem to be sort of going for their own thing.
Yeah, but after Kevin Chu posted in the group today, where we're looking at the figure, and just that YouTube video I'll post in the show notes, but just the torture the reviewer puts through this bot makes me all that more interested in it. It seems more bulletproof, but yeah. Lastly, finishing off the show, we have some Bumblebee movie. We have some Bumblebee movie news. Sorry, Mikey, it's not a trailer still yet.
It doesn't come out until December, so probably still got a little bit to wait.
Yeah, but teaser at least. Give us a little teasy peasy,
Hey,
give us a little smidgen.
We get a Star Wars trailer in November for the following December, so we get something. Travis Knight, director of Transformers: Bumblebee, he's finally stepped out into the limelight a little bit and had a bit of a chat about his upcoming project. I think the most interesting part for us to discuss is one excerpt from his interview, which is so what I was kind of trying to do with this film is it's set in the 80s, and he wanted to harken back to the great the original G1 vibe and feeling and tone. So there are definitely more into Easter eggs, and fans who are down with that will sort of recognize that sort of stuff. There's a lot of continuity between this and the films that Michael Bay has done.
Lol.
Expectations
Continuity.
drop, but the film does stand on its own. So
Expectations slightly raised again.
yeah, I think just definitely they're harking back to the great original G1 vibe. He's obviously not a Beast Wars fan. Boo.
I think from the few details that we've seen so far, it does corroborate that. Like, you know, the Bumblebee design that we saw on the remote control car packaging was a lot more G1 than we've seen previously. You know, and he's got the Volkswagen Beetle. And then I suppose it's a good way to talk about the reports from people who actually saw footage from the movie. They say that there's a scene where it's a lot funnier and more lighthearted. And apparently someone was quoted as saying there's more characterization in Bumblebee just like emoting for one scene than there was for every Transformer in 5 movies.
I can agree with that.
And it's another thing with when he talks about bringing back that G1 feeling. Someone was saying that Starscream is in this movie and that he looks a lot like the G1 character design.
Yeah, we commented on this last week. Just the hope for the F-14 Tomcat and Starscream in his original colors. But then that's you sort of bring up the G1 feel. When I'm sure others would agree or violently disagree in the first movie when Blackout sort of comes into the Soxent base and transforms, that tingles G1 feel. Unfortunately, it sort of disappeared after that.
Thing?
Well, just sort of a Decepticon coming in, giving no shits about what the humans want. The fact that he obeyed them going in that far was one thing, but there's been a couple of things across the films. I'd have to prepare notes to discuss those things. I'm not going to pull them off the top of my mind right now, but I think G1 feel can be strewn in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, like you could say that Age of Extinction had a G1 feel because there were like a small group of robot characters in that movie who they had a very one-note tone to each of their personalities, and you could say that that's G1.
Oh, even just the Autobots' arrival, Optimus Prime, like Jazz. How does he talk like that? Oh, we learn our languages from the World Wide Web. Well, that's more of a description as to how the hell Jazz talks like that in G1. Yet everyone has a problem with that in the 07 movie, but again, not to shit on G1, but yeah, it just I can see. I don't know we don't know what they're planning after Bumblebee. We know that roadmap or future films with bloody Dungeons and Dragons and Aquanauts and whatever else is coming out, and then the whole whatever it is coming out in 2021. Like this could be, if this is successful and there's enough fan love, critic love, this could be the start of a new trilogy that sort of is set in the 80s. We can bring in more of those 80s bots and G1 characters in their G1 modes.
Yeah,
and it might be better than the 86 movie because...
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, after the last night, a few months after I said, yeah, we're done, we're rebooting the franchise, the movies are over. But I feel like if this does well, then it probably might open up the door for them to go, okay, people seem to like this little corner of a universe. Why don't we expand upon that? And so pending the success of this movie, the live action movie franchise, or in its current state, might not be as dead as we think.
Did we ever hear Michael Bay complimenting G1 and saying how he's going for a certain feel.
I don't think Michael Bay has complimented anything in his
Anything.
entire life.
Yeah.
Aside
And
from maybe the
it's
size
not-
of his own penis.
Yeah, apparently.
Nah, come on.
That robot chickens thing, that was funny.
Yeah, I prefer the South Park one, but yeah, he made a lot of money for the franchise, so let's not judge.
Yeah.
It just seems
Thank you very much.
to come out and call it now. This might be marketing or script writers or something in his ear saying, "Hey, mention G1, the fans will love you." We'll see at the end of the year, but it seems like he's making it. He knows what G1 is. He knows that he obviously knows that Michael Bay films weren't the best, but we're going to have to tie into them a little bit.
Everybody knows that.
Well, from what we know so far, he's not just paying lip service. Like, he's actively gone ahead and, we know that he's using a much more G1 Bumblebee design, and from the sounds of things, he's done it to an even greater extent with Starscream. So he certainly is making an effort in that respect. So
and people have seen footage and are commenting in not high regards, but are commenting positively about it. It's taken 10 years of Transformers films to let Volkswagen use the goddamn Beetle. Like,
yep.
If you hate Michael Bay enough, at least give him praise where 5 of his shitty films have given Volkswagen the reason to say, hey, we can advertise here and sell a car that's no longer in production.
I think
because
another thing to note is that people are really tired of Michael Bay and Michael Bay's style.
Yeah,
so the fact that people have been talking about this positively means that it's going to be a lot different. Because if the footage from this movie had even a hint of Michael Bay-isms, then people would be saying, yeah, it's just more of the same. And they wouldn't be nearly as receptive to it. But because it is, but because they're saying, hey, we're really liking this, what we can almost definitely garner is that it's going to be a totally different thing to what we've come to expect from these movies.
Still influences by Michael Bay.
Well,
obviously it's the same universe, but
what could those...
look at the more recent Marvel movies, how tonally different some of them are from each other. Like, Thor Ragnarok feels like a very different movie to Civil War.
True.
Yeah. And I feel like
let's keep it in the lines of the film. It's far different to what's 4-2 called again?
Dark World.
Dark World.
Yeah, see, that's like the same franchise as well.
Yeah, case in point. Like that's the thing. Like you're saying how yes, you've got the heist movie, you've got the galactic movie, you've got this and that movie where the individual film trilogies don't even keep it straight. So let's not go into the fact that Hulk started as not Mark Ruffalo, but
the point still stands. Like, within the same franchise, there will be tonal departures, and I think that has worked for a lot of these shared universe things. And so if there is more of a tonal departure with this Bumblebee movie, I think that's going to do it an immense amount of favors, and it's going to go really well for the general public perception of the Transformers franchise.
So there's a lot of continuity between this and the films that Michael Bay has done. What do we think?
They say continuity.
Well, I reckon what that means is that Bumblebee loses his voice in this movie.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, no. No, that's got to go to Megatron.
No. That has, unless there's a flashback from Cybertron.
It's a super obvious thing that the studio is just going to be like, hey, Travis, do that.
Let's retcon it, yeah. Also, he's probably we know that they're not going to have a lot of bots, so I'm guessing he's the only one of only one, maybe two Autobots on the planet.
I think rumors are it's Bumblebee, Hot Rod, Optimus, Barricade, Starscream, and a female Decepticon.
Well, I still think Optimus is going to be some sort of communication. Yeah, if they're not gonna go full franchise with this and just go with a standalone, and the end's going to be I found the boy, come to Earth.
Yeah, or like it's like Bumblebee sacrifices himself to save the human character, and then at the end, Prime has to take him away to fix him up or something.
We'll see.
Only time can tell.
What if God was one of us?
Yeah, I'd be really surprised if they don't put Hot Rod in this movie because
it's Hot Rod.
Because they establish that he's been on Earth since at least the 1940s, and that he's really close with Bumblebee. So it'd be a strange thing to not put him in this movie.
Let's take the last night out of this, shall we? Because I also seen photos of Ironhide with Napoleon, and I'm sure Ratchet was there somewhere helping the Egyptians build the pyramid.
Ratchet was like Genghis Khan.
Like, what was it as Bulkhead in the American Revolution or something?
Yeah,
and then
let's not go too far into this.
Well, I think the thing is, I'm probably just more biased because I really like movie Hot Rod, and I'm about the only person in the world who feels that way.
Yeah, how dare you?
Well, okay, slight tangent. He may have a French accent, but the character is spot on.
It done some things that past Transformers didn't. The fact that he interacts with his driver when in alt mode is one thing that has never been happened in previous Transformers films. When the cars are in alt mode, they're just sitting there. And it's one thing I've always hated is just the cars sit there. There's no voiceover. You got the voice actors. You get a line. Hop in.
Bumblebee's done it.
Yeah, but
no, we're not going to do the radio thing. She's a super freak.
Well, what about when the time he interacted,
Yeah, and smashed that poor chick's head into the dashboard and killed her.
Yeah, right.
Oh no, because she survived, because she's a pretender.
She is a pretender, pretenders.
Sam, pay attention. Her face just slammed into a dashboard. She should be dead.
Yeah, should.
Movies. All right. Let's close this out, shall we? New acquisitions. Mikey, you've found some bots at retail.
Yeah, you say bots, but at the end of the day, it ends up only being this guy. That would be Battle Trap.
Combine.
Yeah, basically. So I actually work with this client who I just go, we catch a bus to the shops, and then he looks for his little Lego sets because he likes to buy Lego. I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a look in the Transformers aisle because he likes Transformers too, so if he finds something, he usually likes to pick it up too. So we went to Toys R Us, and lo and behold, they had both these guys there. I'm just like, yeah, I can't pass this up. I definitely can't pass this up. And I picked them up. They also had pretty much the whole range of the Studio Series line, and I didn't actually check. I jumped on these, and then I just went away and just like, yes, I got them. I didn't really check that they had the deluxes or any of the Voyagers from Wave 2. I'm also going to get the Prime Masters eventually, but yeah, I didn't check if I had those either. I just again, hopefully, if they're still around by then.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
So all I did was basically I just saw these two. I'm just like, yes, grabbed them, and I ran away. I'm just like, yes, I can't believe I got them. And yeah, so what's he like? The two, so Battle Slash is pretty crappy in helicopter mode. decent in robot mode. He's got really weird thighs because they're his, because they're battle trap's arms. But yeah, he's a decent figure. I think Road Trap's the better of the two, but he has his flaws as well. I mean, the vehicle mode, the front of the vehicle mode looks great. The back of the vehicle mode's kind of messy, is what you can just call it. And his robot mode's pretty much perfect. He's like a great little generic Decepticon. And then they combine, and yeah, they make a pretty convincing battle trap. And if they have the balls not to release flywheels,
they will do him, right? Because they said we're not going to start a set and not finish it, and they've started doing this. So they have to.
I've got this really horrible sinking feeling that they might just do. They're just like, hey, have this awesome little set, and guess what? That's it.
Oh, but it's such easy money for them.
It would be. It's like, yeah, and then all they have to do is if they did the interchangeable. So say if you could put the top of battle trap on the bottom of flywheels.
It'd have to be the same connection point. Sure.
Yeah, they'll have to. Yeah. But
give
like
me Energon flashbacks, Mikey. Don't go there.
Yeah, but I mean, if they did it well, then what they could do is just repaint them and then release, and then maybe do new head sculpts for all of them really, and then make the Autobot Duocons from the comics. So that could be cool. But just for these guys, he's got a lot of posability even in the legs. I was surprised because have to split up the middle of the whole robot to make the legs, and yeah. All modes are well articulated. And the only unfortunate thing is, look at his Decepticon symbol and tell me what's wrong with it.
Crooked?
A bit blurry.
It's blurry. It's
not
still focusing on you.
It's not
You're the
centered, is
bigger
it?
of
It's
it.
like slightly to the
it
left.
is too, yeah. Yep, it is too.
It is very I don't know. But you can just see by the blurriness.
Yeah.
It is not centered at all. It really, really bugs me. So I'm hoping they've got a repro label set. I know there's actually a non-F kit that gives him guns and stuff. But yeah, he's really, really. The combined mode is really worth it. The two little bots are half decent. So yeah, I think he's definitely worth a pickup. Because we haven't had this character in so long.
Question.
Yeah.
The supposed ninja sword attached to his back. Give it a spin. That's his blades, isn't it, from the helicopter mode?
Yeah, you can't spin it in this mode.
Oh, okay. So it actually locks into place there like that.
It doesn't really lock. I mean,
but it's restricted. It's there.
It is restricted. So you can if you shake him, he's not gonna thing. Yeah. You can have it in any position. It kind of just stays there because of the way it's trans. Some people were annoyed with the backpack, and there are some different iterations of the backpack, but I like it like this because I like having the blade actually to the side tilted like that.
Well, that's the whole time you've been displaying it. It just looks like a samurai bot's got his weapon on his back.
Yeah, no. The funny thing is, if you look on the packaging for Battle Slash, it kind of makes it like that you can actually take off the blade from the arm and put it into his hand. Now, I've done that. I've taken the blade off his arm because it is on his right arm. The blade is spinning on his right arm. You can't actually physically fit it into his hand. So I don't know why they did the false advertising there, actually having him hold it as a sword, but that actually kind of did piss me off. So that didn't annoy me about Battle Slash, but
well, it might have been something in engineering production. They've said we're going to make this figure do this, and then it couldn't do it, and it wasn't told to marketing.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, it was stupid. I was just like, why would you say it can do it? And it really hurt me. It really hurt my feelings.
All the deep feels.
Definitely deep feels. But yeah, I think worth a pickup for this guy, definitely.
Everyone is hunting for that thing right now.
Yeah. You'll find him. Don't worry. When Wave 2 rocks up, you'll be flooded with him. Don't worry.
No worries. Max, interesting title in the run sheet: Black Man Ares Nitron. Black Man's ass Nitron. What are you looking at here?
Okay. I was going to start off with something else, but I suppose I'll get this out of the way. then
What?
this is Black Mamba Aries Nitrogen.
There you go.
What the hell? Sorry, that's great.
So this is a knockoff. It's obviously of the Last Night Nitro Zeus. It's done by Black Mamba, who were formerly Kuban Bao.
Damn, that's a big figure.
Yeah, he's a big boy. There he is next to like Legend Shockwave. So this is originally a Voyager figure, and now he's like bigger than a leader class, and it's just a phenomenal piece. Like I only opened it today, and it excels in every possible way. You know, I don't know how well you can see it on the Hangout, but every little detail on him is picked out in paint.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, definitely
so well done. It looks incredible,
and it was really cheap, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is like $55 posted from
Top. Oh wow!
It's
posted
a bargain.
as well. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
He's got 2 heads of him, so if you're, an idiot, then you can have him displayed with a toy head. Or
straight up, Max, just straight up.
Or if you're a proficient, you can have him displayed with the movie head. Because the toy head is just the KSI drone from Age of Extinction, whereas the movie head is Shockwave's head from Dark Moon.
Also, the Soundwave head from Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah, this guy's CGI model sort of cobbled together a few parts.
Well, at the end of Age of Extinction, we did see Shockwave with 2 heads in his Shockwave mode. So.
What was his name again? Oh, what was his name?
It didn't have a name.
I think they just called it like double-headed Shockwave.
Yeah, like it didn't have a name. It was just a minion of Galvatron. That's all we need to know. Let's not compute.
Okay.
Rock solid. Like the plastic on this is amazing. He's got nice tight ratchet joints everywhere. Super posable. Like you got nice deep bend on the knee. They added in ankle tilts as well, which he didn't have initially.
Wow, they're better knee guards than the bloody Masterpiece cone heads. Look at that. That's death. And then
they
just knee someone in the face.
On the Voyager version, they're stuck like this, but on this knockoff one, you can fold it down like that. So,
nice.
Looks a little bit nicer.
Oh, it's my friend. I'm not going to knee him in the face now.
Yeah. I'm not. What's worth noting? There's a lot of die cast in him. Like the feet down here, that's a nice big chunk of metal. So he's got a really firm base to stand on. The sort of axe crossbow type thing, these 2 sections, as a spike off to the side, those are both die cast. It feels like there's some more internally, like in the main torso, but I'm not exactly sure where. I almost feel like it doesn't need it though. Like the plastic is just so solid.
All right. So first question, he's obviously going for the Shockwave head. We can clearly see that purple chain cannon ammo feeder going to his right arm, but is a Shockwave feature as well. It's just.
Oh, yeah, this is added on as well. Like this isn't on the official one.
As in the Hasbro release.
Yeah, the Hasbro release doesn't have a hose here.
No. This is what comes with the KO version. But it's a wonder how much they're going for this. This is clearly Shockwave. Where why the hell are we calling it Nitro Zeus and making a completely new character when we could have just brought him back and had an eye patch or something?
Well, in one of his bios that got released, apparently he was like a massive fan of Shockwaves, and so like when Shockwave died, he got really upset and all that.
Mikey, you grew up with Armada and that. What's the who's Shockwave's brother in that? Shockquake?
Six Shot.
No, Shockquake or something.
Six Shot.
No, it's not Six Shot.
No, in Energon,
Shock Blast is his
name.
name.
Is called Shock Blast.
Shockwave is called Shock Blast, and then his brother's Six Shot.
Disregard. So what the transformation? Like he's got the big front of the plane on his left arm.
Yeah,
just like the original. The engines on his shoulders and that all fold out to make the wings and that like the original figure.
Yeah. So I was, speaking of the transformation, I come up fault. I can't not talk about what Hasbro did for this thing. Like, this is a phenomenally engineered figure. The transformation's like really asymmetrical as well. So like this arm like winds up attached to his crotch, and like this arm winds up sticking out from where his head is, and then legs end up folded up all around the side. The pods on the shoulders, they fold out to become the wings. It's kind of a trip doing it the first time through, but you do it and you're like, okay, that was pure genius. It's a really well engineered figure.
It just goes to show that there's a reason it's called the cockpit. I'm not. I'm not.
You deserve all the praise.
I'm not dropping my Yeti. Apart from the Black Mamba, what else have you got there? You got someone else?
Yeah. So while I was in Malaysia, I of course went shopping.
Did you get some whistles?
Some whistles.
Yeah, I've heard many bad stories of people ordering figures from Malaysia and getting $1, like these are $200 Hot Toys figures or something, and getting 50-cent whirly whistles or something instead, and scammed.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I did get scammed because I bought a knockoff Marvel Legend actually, which just kind of pissed me off. I actually did buy a Hot Toy though. Got the Predator, but most of the stuff I bought I haven't opened yet, except for just about 3 other Transformers as well. But with the exception of this little guy. So you remember the Legends Shockwave from a couple years back? This is the Takara version. Much nicer color scheme. I love that figure. This is the 3rd one of him I own. I've got like the standard retail version on the shelf, plus another one with Combiner Wars Bruticus, and now this version. So,
well, from memory, that original Shockwave went more movie, like the real dark purple.
Yeah, whereas this has the same sort of color scheme as the Masterpiece, like sort of a much lighter purple, but with a really nice matte finish to it,
and more solid.
Yeah, actually, it is more solid. Like, I don't know what it is about it, but the joints are stiffer on this figure, which I was not expecting, but was a pleasant surprise.
Hashtag done is better than Masterpiece.
Yeah, I won't pretend the Masterpiece is perfect as much as I love it.
Good. Let's stick with that.
He also comes with my favorite Titan Master, Cancer.
Oh yes, yep.
Which is the Takara version of.
You're a sicko. You like Cancer?
Yeah, I do. He's really well painted.
It's a collectible piece.
Yeah, I didn't quite get the whole thing around these nicely painted Titan Masters, but having one in hand now, basically a year after the fact, I get it. Like
you may want to get that cut out.
Yeah, like having 3 or 4 different color schemes on either side of him, nicely picked out details in the head mode, beyond just what you can see on the face. And even in the Titan Master mode, he's got like 2 separate colors picked out on his tiny little head sculpt there, which, considering the size of him and the fact that he's just a pack-in with a regular Legends figure, is pretty good in my opinion.
Yeah. No, the Takara ones do a better job of having that paint. It's more than just two or 3 molded plastic pieces joined together like the Hasbro ones.
Yeah, I've been wanting to track this set down for a while, but I couldn't really find it for anything other than $30. I'm like, I know it's for Takara version, but I don't want to pay $30 for a Legends figure. But then,
collect the quality.
Even as much as I like the paint on this, it was still a bit too much. But it was $20 Australian in Malaysia, so like, right, have a new. And yeah, he's a really nice looking little figure.
Nice.
Lovely. Is that that's the last of it?
Yeah, now I just need to go completionist and get the Action Master version from Bruticus.
Good luck with that search.
Yeah, no kidding. Those are sensitive pain. Anything for you?
No, I spent a lot of money. Now I regret spending that amount of money because I'm in between jobs still, and a new job starts on Tuesday. So hopefully that gives me some ability to spend again. But briefly in Transformers briefly in TCCA business, April donation drive is done. Thank you to everyone that donated. We had 2 or 3 donors that sort of posted as I was starting the show. Otherwise, I was going to do the live draw now.
Sorry.
Boo. It wasn't just you, Mikey. There was a couple others as well that got in late, so that's fine. I'll get those ticket numbers done in the morning. And
Late but never.
what are you guys doing Sunday, Arvo? Want to have a chat? Draw some figures?
I mean, am I allowed to, given I donated?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm drawing them. You're just here to talk about it.
Yeah,
You're
right,
fill air in the meantime.
Yeah, awesome. I'll probably be able to. Yeah, don't see any reason why I won't be able to.
Okay. All right. We'll see how we go Sunday. But a massive thank you. We had a couple of donors that went above and beyond with a $100 donation, which got us up just over the 200 list, which normally for these donations, where I'm going to look at something for them, especially because it needs to be rewarded. Normally we spend about $500 on figures this year, or this time. We're lucky enough to have those figures kindly donated by Xavier's Toys and Toy Bot Imports. So massive thank you to those guys. So the 200 ticket sale was pretty much the goal. 300 would have been the goal if we had paid for the figures, but we're going to draw that live this Sunday. Those listening on the podcast, that draw would have been said and done. So those viewing the show on YouTube, check out the group and the page, and we'll get that up Sunday evening. We haven't done that convention stuff yet, so that's the outro. Thank you for listening. If you have watched along with us tonight or watching along with the video now, thank you. This is a live recording of the show. The produced podcast goes up on transformersweekly.podbean.com, so head over there and check out the Podbean, the podcast feed. Transformers CCA, everything you want to know about us is over on transformerscca.com, or check out our Facebook page or our Facebook group at Australian Transformers Collectors Club. No, it's not even that, goddammit. Transformers Collectors Club Australia. Jeez, 4.5 years and I'm still screwing it up.
4.5 years, bloody hell.
Yeah, podcast feed, RSS feeds over there on the Podbean show channel thing. Our new companion podcast, Transformers Legends, will be recording our farewell episode Sunday, possibly because we're closing that down after 7-8 episodes. With work changing, I've gone from being able to get these podcasts, this Legends and another podcast edited in 2 days, where now I'm spending 4 days just getting this and the other podcast edited. So it's just, I've lost. Chris Turner, welcome to the podcast. Commenting on April 4th instead of May 4th. Thank you, sir. But yeah, I just don't have time to edit the podcast as much as I did anymore. So we're gonna sign off on that and bid farewell. We might do a YouTube show every now and then, but apart from that, everything Transformers Collectors Club Australia. I've just been redoing the site a little bit. We haven't had any of the 2008 conventions, meetups, and anything like that posted on there, so I'm getting that stuff filled in. But apart from that, that's episode 151. Mikey. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Hey.
Goodbye.
Pardon me.
Delayed.
Are we still live?
Yeah, we are.
We are.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just a bit yawny.
Oh, okay. Max, thank you for joining us tonight.
thank you.
And we'll be back next week.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we'll be back Sunday night for a donation drive draw, but the podcast will be back next week.
Sweet.
Awesome.
All right.
See you then.
Enjoy,
I hope
guys.
to win.
Winning's grinning.
Yeah.
See you guys.
See you guys next week. Bye.